TCM, the 5 elements, connecting it to Feng Shui and even connecting it to perimenopause and menopause. This is what this episode is all about. And no, I will not be speaking about all the 5 elements in one episode because that would be a really, really long episode. I will slice it down organ by organ, element by element, and then you can look into each of the elements and organs which are of most interest to you, and maybe all of them, ideally all of them, because they are interconnected. In this one, let's start with the kidneys. The kidneys are represented by the water element, and the water element not only governs the kidneys, it also governs the bladder and the entire moisture and liquid humidity system within our body. So in case you notice, oh, my skin is getting dry, my hair is getting dry, my fingernails, they're really getting brittle, my eyes are getting dry, my nose, even tinnitus and ear sounds might be caused because there is not enough moisture in your system. Even mental or presumably mental issue are actually brain issues because your brain isn't hydrated well enough or there's not good enough blood flow. So water, it's ultra essential, especially for us menopausal ladies, but all the other elements as well. But not to underestimate your kidneys. And I confess I had not really paid attention to my kidneys because I knew that they were there, like 2 little organs in the back of my back, but other than that, I did not care. I rarely had bladder infection. I knew people had to go to dialysis, I think it was called, to get the blood replenished, but I had no idea really what the kidneys were doing, but they govern and regulate a lot. And the kidneys, the water element, nourishes the wood element. So it nourishes the energy of our liver and of our gallbladder. So if our liver isn't strong, if our liver cannot really digest the foods and govern how to store energy and where to store energy and clean of us toxins and all of it, if the liver cannot do that well, it will again affect the rest of our body, but it can only do that if it's nourished well enough by the water element, in this case by the kidneys. On the other hand, if the kidneys are too weak, also not just too weak in order to nourish the wood element, if they're too weak, it can also impair our fire element, our heart energy, because the heart and the kidney energy, they're closely connected. And usually the heart, the fire energy, strives to go up, whereas the kidney energy, the water element energy, tends to go down, like a waterfall tickling down a mountain, or RP doesn't go up, usually it usually goes down, unless you're really doing crazy stuff. Water has the tendency to go down. But if our water energy is very low and weak, it also can cause that the upgoing fire energy is not having enough resistance in a way, so that instead of going up, it also goes down, which can then create heart palpitations, heart attacks, cardiovascular issues. So it's too much heart energy where it shouldn't be. So also for that kidney energy, the water element energy is really essential. The kidney energy, however, is nourished by the lung energy. So if your lungs are strong, if you're lots in the fresh air, if your lungs can let go and release toxins, your kidneys also will benefit from that. Same is if your spleen, if your digestive system isn't really functioning well, especially your spleen, your stomach, it could be that your earth energy is too weak, or it's too weak, and thus negatively impacts the kidney, the water energy. So it all needs to be in a balance. But kidney energy, so now we've had kind of a mini look at the organs and how they, like according to TCM, how they're integrated and interconnected with each other. Let's look at some other elements with regards to the water and kidney energy, which is, and now it's more of the feng shui element or philosophy coming into this. The water element is represented by the color black. Yep, many water bottles have a green label, maybe even a blue label. Usually it's a brightish blue label, but water energy, according to TCM, it's black or dark blue. Like bright blue and green, that's wood. That has nothing to do with water. So water energy is represented by dark blue and black. That's the water energy. Like really think of the deep, deep sea. That's the water energy. It is also associated with storage. So it's not just the liquid system within our body, it's also the kidneys are called in Qigong philosophy that they store our life's energy. And part of that life energy has been given us by our parents pre-birth. And once we were born, we had that life energy. And some have a big package of life energy and some have a smaller package of life energy. Doesn't mean we have to die sooner or later. I mean, we will die sooner or later, but doesn't mean if you have a smaller package that you will die sooner. That's not necessarily correlated and causally related. It's rather that it's important that you get enough rest and that your other lifestyle habits create enough energy that you can make up for the rather little package of life energy which has been given to you. So one part is the energy which we were given pre-birth, and the other is the energy which is generated through our lives. And if we're not creating enough energy, or if the kidneys are impaired, the kidney energy is impaired, we're not storing enough of that energy. So that when we're in need, like perimenopause, menopause, or postmenopause, that's usually a time where often many women are in need for extra energy because we feel we're not resistant to stress as much as we were. We're having difficulties with multitasking, which usually was a breeze, or with focusing, or brain fog, or even depression, or so many things, or even our bones, like how our bones are recreated. Lots within our system is telling our bones to break down faster. So storage, that's not priority number one as we enter perimenopause and beyond. So it's even more important that we create a lifestyle and optimize our lifestyle and habits to have more energy stored within our system. And the water element, the kidney element, they really, really can help us with restoring our energy so that we can navigate through perimenopause and into later years with more ease and more healthily. So what again? All the organs, all the elements, they're also connected to a season. And the season of the kidneys is winter. Winter, winter, winter. Maybe that's why the hot cocoa or the hot tea or the glühwein or whatever you might be drinking, or the water bottle. It's water is connected to winter. Even though in winter usually water freezes, maybe that's the transformation of the water, but the water element per se is connected to the season of winter, where everything is more like calming down and restoring itself, regaining the energy, and as I said, restoring itself, creating storage so that when spring arrives, there's enough storage, enough energy to blossom and to bloom. So winter, even though it might look bleak and it's gray and there's no leaf on a tree and it's dark, it's very, very important, because without that recovery phase within the season, in climates and areas where there are the seasons, without that recovery stage of the season, it will be very difficult to have a blooming spring or summer and fall. So that's the winter energy. There's also a taste associated with the water element, and that is salt. So you might think, ooh, but I've heard a low sodium, low salt diet is super important. It might be, and definitely check with your trusted healthcare practitioner, but there is also a connection of how low salt within your system can actually increase insulin sensitivity or insulin insensitivity, so that you're less sensitive to insulin and less able to process the glucose which is in your blood, and that your muscles and your cells in your brain are less able to open the doors to the available glucose, because there is a resistance in the gatekeeper which would open the door of the cell for the glucose to enter. So a low level of salt can have an effect of creating a higher insulin resistance. So that's something. Going too low on salt might not be the best. I mean, don't overdo it, but do notice that salt is the taste of the water element and can help retain water in a healthy level as well. There's also an organ or a sense associated with the water element, and that's the ear, that's the hearing sensation. So, and I find that particularly interesting because for many years, much longer before I even had an inclination that I'm in perimenopause, I've had ear trouble. There was a really, really weird humming noise, and I thought maybe it's just my mind making that up, but it actually went away when I put in an earplug. So it was a physical humming noise which my ear was having, or actually it was more the left ear. Both, but it was really, really, really annoying. It impeded my sleep and it made me very on edge, like having the humming harbor noise every moment. It's just not comfortable unless you're living at a harbor and that's just the natural sounds occurring there. And I noticed now that my kidney energy is more or closer to being back in balance. It's not perfectly yet, but it's much better than it has been. And my fluidity and liquid levels in the body have improved as well. I even noticed that my nails are less dry and that those spiky things are almost gone. Like I thought that's not possible. It is possible. And the ear also is very sensitive to liquid and moisture and fluidity. And if there's not enough moisture in those cells, that can have an effect that you create ear sounds, that you're having ear sounds. So that's super, super important. But also your brain, if it's too low on water, I've mentioned that in other episodes, but I cannot underline and highlight that enough. If your brain even has a 2% decrease in hydration, you will notice it emotionally, cognitively, everything. Your entire personality can change when you're dehydrated, when you're not hydrated well enough. Emotions we've covered in another chapter, but just to have a little reminder, the kidneys, the water element, is connected to fear. That's why we pee our pants when we're anxious. And it's also connected to wisdom. Wisdom, what comes with perimenopause and beyond? Definitely wisdom. So that is with the TCM lens, but now let's open up the gates even more to the Feng Shui lens. And for that, the water element is represented by, can you imagine? It's in the Feng Shui Bagua, it's the entry gate where your door to your house, like literally your apartment, your house, where that door is. And it's your entry gate also to your career. So it's career, work, your life's mission, which is represented by the water element. And its colors, dark blue, black, and it's also associated to a number if you're into numerology, and the number of the water element is 1. So maybe that's why I'm starting with that one, but actually it's more a coincidence. So it's career, life mission, its colors black, dark blue, number associated is 1. It also has a shape, and the shape is just like water. It's a free form. It can be big and voluminous, it can be tiny and thin and delicate. It's a free form of shape. It's a flowing shape. Water is nourished by metal, by the metal energy. and it is destroyed by too much earth energy, and vice versa. Too much water, on the other hand, just floods earth and also destroys wood. So it's not just it's nourishing the wood, it can also overact on the wood. So that's something to consider when looking at the water element and the kidney element, and what these colors and those tastes and maybe also career, work-life mission might be indicators to you on how and where to improve your water energy. Like, not just literally like get a medication for your kidneys, that might not be the remedy. Maybe it's eating more dark blue foods like black sesame, eggplant, black tea, maybe small doses of coffee if you're not too aggravated by coffee, dark chocolate, dark berries. Those kinds of food are really, really, really helpful for nourishing your water element. And also a little bit of salt. Don't go too low on that. Also, we forgot, like, how many women in their midlife going through perimenopause and menopause are changing their careers, are questioning their professional track, and are reshifting and changing. What surprise! It is represented by the water element. That was one spotlight on one of the 5 elements, one of the 5 organs, also with regard to Feng Shui and numerology in a way, and what you can do to improve your water energy so that your entire system gets back into balance. And once again, the positive energy of water is wisdom. Yeah, there's some more, but just a little bit. Then we're done with water. If there's too much water energy, also that can be an impairment. It's not just it's too little. It can be that it's too much. If it's too much water energy, you can be phobic, you can be paranoid, or vigilant. So those could be indicators if there's too much of the water energy. If there's a good amount, as I mentioned, there's wisdom, there's awareness, more awareness, and it's being prepared. So it's more easy to stay organized and to be prepared. A deficiency could be indicated by lots of withdrawal, like meeting friends. Oh no, way too complex, way too difficult. I don't go. Withdrawal or getting lost in fantasy land. So a good amount of fantasy is very healthy, but if you notice it's just too much, it could be a sign that your water energy is too low. Symptoms can also be low libido, pain while having intercourse with your loved one. Could be fertility problems, but that's then perimenopause, menopause. I don't know if we still want to have the baby. Period issues, nevertheless, and early graying hair. And I'm really early with graying hair, but that I think runs in the family because both my mom and dad and also my brother super, super white. So I'm actually surprised that I'm still having kind of dark hair at the moment. So that was water energy, TCM, Feng Shui, symptoms, emotions, and how it's affected by the other elements. And I will be looking and discussing the other elements and organs in other episodes. If you found this interesting, if you found this helpful, if you found remedies how to bring your water energy back to life or reduce it when it's too much, just like a tsunami overthrowing and killing everything else. If you found remedies, if you found solutions, please share in the comments, and I'm looking forward to see you next time.